I want to start with the last video left off, which was sealing up this, let's call it a pool. And everything is feeling well. It's the very next day. And it feels good, it's rubbery. This was like a big gap, and it's not 100% cured, but it's good enough, and it looks like it'll stop. You saw that? Well, I think it'll stop the self-level from going, spilling out. This is my only worry over here. It didn't really get good in there. But other than that, I think we're pretty good. I don't really like this stuff for this application. I don't think it was worth it. Maybe just getting some regular caulk would have been fine. But this is what I had. I thought that it worked differently, but I was wrong. So what I'm gonna do now is I gotta prep this area. Whenever you're doing a job like this, preparation is 90% of the job. So I'm going to get on my knees with my knee pads and vacuum this whole area, getting all the loose dirt and all the stuff out the way. And I'm going to apply one coat of, I think it's called milk. And it's pretty much like the adhesive for the self-level. So we made this a pool. I'm gonna apply the milk, and then in 24 hours, you don't have to wait 24 hours, but I'm gonna wait 24 hours because this room is pretty cold, and I want to give it time to cure or set or whatever you want to call it. And once that's done, mix the self-level, pour it, and then the next step will be to seal it. You want to seal it because if water was to fall on it, or oil or any kind of thing, the self-level won't suck it in. It will just pull right on top. So since I'm doing this because of water, I think I need to seal it. So let's start prepping now. I just remembered I had this in my painter's box, so I'm gonna be applying it in that corner and also that corner. I feel like those weren't covered enough. That one I already spoke about. It looks like it's gonna leak, but then I saw that corner while I was vacuuming, and it's pretty big. So I'm gonna hit both of those with this, and this is not gonna stop the Pacific Ocean, but it's gonna stop some self-level, I believe. But we'll see. We'll see if this paint grade caulk will do the job. So this went perfectly, and I'll tell you why. This is what I used. It's called, well, it has a sticker on it, but this is a primer. I read the instructions. You're supposed to mix 1 to 1 of this. So if you're doing a cup, you do 1 cup of this and 1 cup of water. So what I did was I grabbed one of these party cups, made a mark in the inside, filled it up with water, put it in here, filled up the cup with primer to the same line, put it in here, mixed it up well, poured it in here, and applied it. And it literally took 1 cup, like you guys just finished seeing. So tomorrow, as soon as I'm 100% sure that this stuff is cured, dried, whatever it is, I'm gonna start mixing and pouring the self-level. This is gonna be tomorrow for me. It's gonna be a couple of seconds for you. So it's the next day. The floor is prepped. Everything is ready to be poured. I am going to take this moment to show you all the stuff I have and need for this pour. I'm going to spend a little bit of time doing this because during the process of pouring this self-leveling, I don't know how am I going to be putting the camera
I don't know if I'm gonna put it in the wrong position, and it's because I have a little bit of pressure. This is rapid set self-leveling, so I have 20 minutes for each pour. It's not gonna allow me time to put the camera in the perfect angle, and I might miss something. I might get a bad angle, I might have to crop something out, and I just wanna make sure that I go over these things if anyone in the audience, anybody watching this, is watching this so they could learn something for when they do their floor. So I want to spend a little bit of time on that for that reason. So one of the things that I got is the spike shoes. These shoes go right over your shoes. They strap on, and the reason why you use this is, let's say that you need to pick something up from this corner and it's too far. You put these shoes on and you're able to step on the self-level because it had spikes. When you step on it, it just makes these little tiny holes. Once you take your foot off, those holes close up and disappear. So that's why I got it. This right here is a spiked roller. This is used to pop the bubbles that come out in the self-level. If you don't mix it right or mix it long enough, sometimes it grabs some air inside the mix and the bubbles will come up. If you are doing underlayment, you probably don't have to worry about the air bubbles because you're gonna be going on top of it. But because this is gonna be the finished floor, I wanna make sure there's no air bubbles on top. So you take this, you roll it over, and the bubbles disappear. This is called a screed, I think. A friend of mine let me borrow that does this for a living. This is just so if I was to pour it in the middle, I could use this and screed it over, push the stuff. It's set at a 1/2 inch. So I'm able to screed this a 1/2 inch all the way around because that's what I need in most of the area. Some area is a 1/2 inch, some area is a 1/4 because this stuff is not perfectly flat. But if I just need to use it, I have it. It's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. The more you know. Also, the mixing propeller that I'm using is this propeller. It's a flat propeller. When mixing something as watery as self-leveling, this stuff can get everywhere. It can end up on your pants, on the floor, and it's inconsistent. You're running out of material. So what I do is I get a cap for compound and I cut a hole in it with a jigsaw. And the reason why I do this is when I pour the stuff in and I have the mix going with the drill in place and the propeller in place, I could put this cap, bring it to the middle, and start mixing. It makes less of a mess. Some material will come out of these holes, but I have a bag over the compound bucket just in case it comes out. It doesn't, like I said, it doesn't make a big mess. Everything just stays contained and the mess is just in the bag and I could just throw it out. That's why. Also, a broomstick or whatever you have would work. I have this painter's rod. I'm gonna leave a link to all these items in the description. This doesn't have a screw on. You can't screw this on, but I just jam it on. You ain't doing much. You're just rolling it. So I have this, it extends, and I could go far away. I could go from this angle all the way over here and roll it. So this is also a thing good to have. And yeah, so without further ado, let's start mixing and pouring. I have 4 liters of water in 3 buckets. I have 3 bags of self-leveling, and I don't think I'm gonna use 3. I think I'm gonna use 2, but always better to be prepared than have to be rushing and looking for what you need. Put the cap on, start mixing.
Ooh, it's going right up to that line, which I did off camera. Off camera, I snapped the line 1/2 inch up, which is 24 inches from the line above. So it looks like, from what I'm seeing, it's meeting up good in the back. A little bit, we need a little bit on this side, and so I think I'm gonna need about a 1.5 bags maybe. So let's see. So it's 24 hours later, and the floor is cured and hardened, and this is gonna be the first time you guys see it. I'm standing on the floor now for the first time. And I'm gonna start off by saying it's not what I wanted. And there's no one to blame but myself. And the mistake that I made was I kept touching it after I poured it all. Once you pour everything, you just have to let it be and let it do its thing. Where I made my mistake was I poured it and kept putting a trowel over it, put the roller over it. And like I said earlier in the video, this stuff is rapid set. It takes 20 minutes to set, and I just kept playing with it, and it didn't come out how I wanted to, but it's good for a basement, and I'll show you. What I was looking for was something like that. This comes off with a little bit of water and acetone. I like this over here because it looks like a piece of marble. But once you start coming over here to this section, you see the swirl right here. You see this over here. I played a lot there. This area is not too bad. But just this corner over here, all of this over here, I don't like. This is not too bad. And this corner isn't too bad. That comes off, I believe, with some mopping, cleaning, and acetone. So let me put the camera down and I'll tell you guys what's gonna happen next. So I'm finally standing on what is the finished floor, but there's a couple of other things that I have to do so it's that finished floor, if that makes any sense. And the things that I have to do is take off the form, a mop with acetone, mop it and let it dry up, clean it up with a dry rag to pick up the dust, and then put the sealer on, 3 coats of sealer. Since I've been doing this process, I've been editing, and right now the video is at 12 minutes. So I'm gonna save the rest of the work for a second part. So that being said, if you guys are interested in seeing where this is gonna end up and how it's gonna look with the final sealer, with the sanding and everything, consider subscribing. I have to do this another 4 times, but I'm not gonna show as much because you guys saw it once. But I hope you guys consider subscribing. If you have any comments or questions, leave it down in the comments down below. And if you learned something, show me by giving me a like. I appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching.